Ethereum just dropped 45%. And yeah, a lot of people are panicking. But the most important signal for what's coming isn't on some price chart. No, it's coming straight from the Federal Reserve.
And if you're ignoring what they're doing right now, you are literally risking missing a massive market reversal that's setting up for 2026. This isn't about guesswork. It's about connecting the dots between a huge policy shift and risk assets, like crypto.
So what's the twist? Well, the single biggest piece of news for anyone holding Ethereum just dropped. And you know what? Almost nobody is talking about it. The Fed just ended its quantitative tightening program. That's a move that historically has been the kickoff for injecting massive liquidity into the markets.
And that's exactly what I'm going to break down for you. By the time we're done here, you are going to see the crystal clear connection between the Fed's actions and what all the underlying data is screaming about Ethereum's price heading into 2026.
Okay, so let's start with the big picture, right? The macro shift. You've got to understand crypto doesn't exist in a bubble. It is deeply, deeply tied to what the central banks are up to. And the first piece of this whole puzzle, it's actually a political one. See, the market isn't just reacting to what the current Fed Chair, Jerome Powell, is doing. It's already looking ahead and pricing in who's likely to replace him.
And this slide right here tells you everything you need to know. It's a tale of two policies. On one side, you've got Jerome Powell with his cautious wait-and-see approach. But on the other side, you've got Kevin Hassett. The market is giving him a 67% chance of being the next Fed chair. And this guy is on record wanting aggressive rate cuts. Now, what do rate cuts mean? It means cheap money. And when money is cheap, it has to find a home. It goes searching for yield in riskier assets. And believe me, for the big players, Ethereum is a prime piece of real estate for that capital. But the really immediate news, the thing that just happened, is the end of quantitative tightening, or QT. So for the last 3.5 years, the Fed has been actively pulling money out of the system. Think of it like they've been slamming on the economic brakes. Well, yesterday, they finally took their foot off the brake.
And this timeline just perfectly illustrates why that is so important. Look at this. The last time they did QT, it started in late 2017. And as the Fed's balance sheet got smaller, so did Ethereum's price. But just look what happened almost right after QT ended, and they flipped to quantitative easing, which is the complete opposite. The Fed started printing money, and Ethereum went on an absolutely insane 4,000% run. Now, history doesn't always repeat itself perfectly, but man, it often rhymes.
So the big question is, how does this huge macro shift actually translate down to Ethereum itself? Well, let's dive into the on-chain data, because it's starting to line up perfectly with this new Fed policy. As I'm recording this right now, Ethereum is trying to break out of a downtrend that it has been stuck in for months. I mean, this is the first real sign of strength we've seen in a while, and the timing is, well, it's critical.
But it gets even more interesting when you start looking at the indicators. You see, the Relative Strength Index, the RSI, it recently hit a level that has historically been an incredible buy signal. So what happens when it gets this oversold? Well, the last time the RSI got this low, Ethereum rocketed up 94% in the next 60 days.
And get this, the absolute worst-case scenario we have on record from this signal was still a 40% pump. That was the smallest recovery ever.
The time before that one, another 94% pump. You starting to see a pattern here?
And the time before that, a 90% pump. So let's be clear, 3 out of the last 4 times this signal flashed, the price pretty much doubled.
Okay, now let's zoom out again for a second, because this isn't just an Ethereum story. There is a huge market-wide signal that is suggesting we could be at the very, very beginning of a multi-year altcoin season.
And to understand this, we've got to talk about something called altcoin dominance. All it really is a way to measure the relationship between Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market. To put it simply, when this number goes up, it means money is flowing out of Bitcoin and into other crypto assets, like Ethereum. And here's the kicker. For the first time in 4 years, that's 48 months, a key long-term momentum indicator, the MACD, is flipping bullish for altcoins against Bitcoin. This, my friends, is a very big deal. I mean, just look at what happened the last time this signal flipped, way back in May of 2020. The average altcoin pumped 340% against Bitcoin. It kicked off a massive alt season, and we are seeing the exact same setup unfolding right now. But, and this is important, an alt season doesn't mean everything goes up all at once. If you really want to understand the opportunity, you have to follow the money. It's what we call a rotation game, and we're seeing a textbook example play out as we speak.
Just take a look at today's market snapshot. Bitcoin's having a great day, right? Up 7%. But look at the privacy coins like Zcash and Monero. They've had a phenomenal run lately, but today, they're lagging way behind, barely even up.
Now, this doesn't mean privacy coins are bad or that they're failing. It means that after a huge run-up, smart investors are taking some profits off the table. And that money, it's looking for its next home. It's rotating out of the things that have already run hard and into assets that are just starting to wake up, like Bitcoin. And you guessed it, potentially Ethereum. It's simple. Money flows where money grows.
All right, let's put all the pieces together and bring it all home. Section 5, the road to 2026. This is where we put it all together for a final outlook.
So, what do we have? We have a major macro tailwind from the Fed. We have a historical buy signal flashing on Ethereum's chart. And we have a huge market-wide indicator suggesting a new altcoin season is just getting started. If history is any guide and we see just an average 90% rally based on that RSI signal we looked at earlier, well, that would put Ethereum at a new all-time high of $5,000, potentially in the first quarter of 2026.
Everything we've covered here today comes straight from the analysis we do here at Crypto Global News. So if you want to stay ahead of these massive market shifts, do yourself a favor. Make sure you like this explainer, share it, and, of course, subscribe for more updates.
So look, the big takeaway here is this. The macro environment is shifting, the on-chain metrics are flipping bullish, and that market-wide momentum is building. All the data is pointing to a massive reversal. The only real question left is, will you be ready for it?
Stay ahead in the crypto market. Subscribe now for the latest global news and updates.